Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I have another Marine ECM, this time working in a 8.1 liters Mac Bravo 496. This coming from Michigan, Scott Picard. This is your computer. The customer concern is a suspected IAC driver burnt. As normal, I'm going to show you all connections and everything that I have done in here. Let me put a little more light in here. It's a little yellow. All right, so you can see the computer connected, and I had the original IAC connected to the setup. This is so you can see, and this is going to be probably the view that I'm going to be using with you. But let me get you over to the folder that I have created for Scott. So his email on the 11/5, I got the computer a few days later. Today is the 10th. It says, hello, I received your contact from a buddy of mine, Steve Mead. Thank you, Steve, for sharing my contact. I believe I have an IAC driver burned up in my ECM. Wonder if you could help me repair that. And that is Scott Picard from Hamilton, Michigan. All right, the next is me. We just, showing the connections in here. And this is so we can see the sticker with part numbers. Is all the calibration, and the sticker is erased. But we can see a little bit of like what it says HO 8.1 HO Bravo, and the PC and sorry, it's a PCM0701. In his note, it says it's a 2007 Formula Fastech and IAC driver burn up. All right, so looking at the history, I save also in here with using Diacom. You can save. You can go over to a test, and in there you can see position of the engine, system information, and that's how I grab that information here on this, where I'm actually now put them in like a blue for you. In there, I can see the calibration is from 2007, 496 Mac HO, and the ACM calibration is 8M2002307. And then the rest are just values, which are important when you're doing tests, because in here it tells you the fuel pump relay ohm resistance, injector resistance, values, the IAC resistance value, like in this case, is very important if you're checking your IAC. Very common on this setup when the IAC burns the computer, like in this case, if that's the case, is to make sure that you replace the connector, because it burns, and it can also burn the new driver because it gets a very bad activation, creates heat, and it burns the computer. Let's go down to full codes. Right here we have the IAC output definitely happening to him. So we have right here, okay, number 4 IAC output right here at the top. IAC output, and then the hours 719.58 hours. Manifold temperature 50, and I can definitely know that those are not mine, because first of all, look at the temperatures in there. Manifold air temperature of 50 degrees, coolant temperature at 51. If I go back to my capture, we can see, well, let me just, actually I have the temperature very close to that, 53.6 and 51.8. And those are the values that I haven't even touched. I want to make sure that I'm always using whatever those as a control, and I don't change it until I am about to run the computer, because let's say, if I was checking another computer, maybe a different setup, the temperature might change. It could even set a high temperature problem, but never an IAC issue. So let me see my battery voltage, see if it's in here. I got 5-volt reference. Yeah, my battery voltage is 14.5. You see right here. So, and if we go over to that IAC fold, which is the 4th fold, and we look, well, actually, yeah, no. Look at the battery voltage right here, 11.87. My simulator cannot go down that way unless it's a short, right? So yeah, if it's a short, it might do something like that. And maybe we can go up to the next one. Let me see if I have any folds in here that are mine. Maybe the first ones usually are. Yeah, like this one, you can see right here, 14 volts. That's definitely mine, right? And the temperatures are really close to what he has, 53.6 and 50, but they're not the ones that he had. And the hours are the same, 719. So the IAC driver problem that he had happened pretty much before sending it to me. Let's see what we got. A Guardian mode too, and here the boat was running 14 volts, 4,400 RPM. It was fully warm. We can see 158 degrees. Let me see what was it because of the. Sometimes it's hard to see what the computer, especially with this software, and it's not Diacom. It's actually the software that Mercruiser did for this computer. It gives you a lot less speeds that the actual computer has because you have oil pressure and a lot of manifold pressures that sometimes they're not even showing here. Well, let me see if I see something. You load manifold air pressure 13.8, runtime 691. So this is way back in time because right now we got 718. So that's like 30 hours ago. So I can disregard that one. Over the speed, that's probably the cause of the Guardian. The over the speed. Let me see what the RPM was in here. 4,800. Yeah, this can depends on the whole setup. It could create a over the speed fault like in this one, and then create a fault. And this was a 712. So, and these EST 7 and 8 are disconnected here. I can immediately see that those are mine because I have 14.05 volts of battery, and that's it, right? Let's see what else. Let's scroll down. Trim. That's also mine. We got Guardian Strategy 132 seconds. Over the speed 73. Starboard client overheat 33 seconds. And the whole computer has 719.58 hours. So 720 hours pretty much. All right, let me adjust the temperatures accordingly. Because I have, you see, like in here, I got port and starboard temperatures, but the computer is not showing that, or not the computer, the faults are not showing that. So if you have an overheated port or a starboard temperature sensor, you cannot see that on the fault because the freeze frame, that's what we call freeze frame, they will not show that. So let me adjust these two temperatures. The port is a little low. I want to make sure another port, the starboard. I try to keep these ones around 100 degrees for my test. To keep it at the same temperature, I'm going to go over 104. So they're both the same. Okay, so we got those, and now let me adjust the coolant temperature, which was low, like 50 degrees. I want to make sure that I am in 150 at least. That's too much. Very easy to go past after that. So 154, that's what I'm going to leave it. And let me see where the air temperature is right here, 54. I'm going to go at least 80 degrees. Yeah, that should be okay. And to run this on idle, I'm going to put the manifold air pressure at 6 psi. That's what I keep it. I'm going to lower the oil pressure. That was definitely in another setup that uses a different values or resistance, and then now it's a little high. I keep it around 30 psi, and just so it doesn't flag any faults. Throttle is around 9 to 10%, so that is perfect. Yep, sensor voltage, we got very good sensor voltage, and that is not a problem. All right, so let me bring it to this view. Now that I set all those parameters as I want. So I got the oscilloscope also connected, and I am connected right now at the IAC. We can see the battery voltage going through the windings in the IAC, and it's expecting to be activated. The reason I'm actually right now on with the Diacom connected and not running is because I want to show you that we can go over to tests. As you can see, that is going to disconnect the communication to go into bidirectional controls, which is that data menu. And here I can do the activation of the IAC. And in here we can then select increase. Well, it's not letting me go past 10%. So we definitely do have a problem immediately on the computer. I'm clicking right there, and it doesn't let me go higher than 10, and that's actually blocking me now. So that means it's definitely an IAC issue on this computer. I'm going to have to open it up and see what the extent of the damage is, because sometimes when this IAC gets damaged, it burns the complete path and sometimes creates a hole onto these very fragile modules. The board is kind of like a laminated print board that can get very shorted because it's attached to the case, which is all aluminum case. So if one gets shorted and it gets
hot too much, it can short into everything. Hopefully, it's not the case. So since we cannot run the IAC, let's since I'm here, let me show you the system information, which is where I got the information as I show you, and I add it to the PDF. We can see here the calibration AM200. Let me just finish that. 200 2307. That's exactly where I got the information. And as I said, you can set the engine location and also see what the engine location is. It's a starboard. Because sometimes you have more than one engine, and when you have one engine, it will be set to starboard. And when you have more than one engine, well, then you have to set a starboard port or starboard 2 and port 2 if you have 4 engines, right? Like that, because they need to talk to each other to keep the same RPMs and so on, right? But yeah, so everything is in here. I can also do injector tests. So let me just show you that here. These are the injectors in here. So if I go and do an injector test, let's say injector number 1. I'm going to stop at injector number 2. So you can see also that, when I'm trying to do the IAC test, it should have a response, and we are connected. The selected driver fails. So that's kind of odd. Well, it's not really abnormal to have one failing, because sometimes the computer doesn't like the simulator resistance for the injector, so disregard that. But as long as it's fired, number 4, yeah, fires. Number 5, so and I can see all the relays and everything coming on. And the main reason I wanted to show you that is so you can see that indeed the computer is connected. Because even though I went and disconnected the scanner for diagnosis, the bidirectional control is actually completely operational. Yeah, we can even test the fuel pump relay. You can see the light here. It's flickering at the same time that red light is flickering on the scanner. I'm going to stop that and let's run it to see how this computer runs. I'm going to put at least the RPM so you get to see. Oh, that's too big. Yeah, you can see that in there. I am providing 400 hertz, and that should be around 650 RPMs. Yeah, the computer is running, so I don't suspect to have a problem as far as, major damage in the computer. I think that maybe it's just the IAC that is, as he said, it got burned up. I'm also now connected into my simulator. I can see the fuel, the firewall reference. And I can also see here if the tachometer is providing an output, which is perfect. So I have an output. I don't need to connect multiple of my oscilloscope leads, channels, in order to see quickly. I can see all the 8 injectors firing. I can see the coils firing, except for 7 and 8. They're not connected. And the reason of that is because I don't know why they provided 12 injectors, right? But only 6 coil drivers. So why they don't put 12? If you are giving me 12 injectors, give me 12 coils. But no, they didn't. So, but yeah, I have to work with that. But yeah, the computer is running good. So let me open it up, guys. Let me stop the video here and I'll be right back. All right, guys, at least good news for Scott. It's not a burn hole through the board, which is 100% repairable now. Let me just show you, and this is the reason I started the video again. This is again to show you, he marked his computer, and I put, actually, I forgot, I put this on, and I put the date when it got here, so 4 days ago, and just to show you that this is still the same computer, and just show you that it's actually looking really clean. It's in very good shape. No damage. I can definitely see a little bit of a heat area exactly where the IAC driver, hopefully you can see it from the distance, and I think you can. I'm going to just go around, but I'm going to show you right there. You can see like kind of like a dark line. Let me see if the light will help to see that better. Yeah, no, sometimes the light is, but you can see a little bit of a heat spot right here. So definitely that IAC is bad. You need to replace the IAC, and 100% you need to replace that connector, Scott, because otherwise you will damage this computer. And luckily for you, it's not a through hole. Sometimes even when that happens, as long as it's on that ribbon part in the hinge area of the computer, I can repair it.
But if it gets to these areas, because these are all the drivers for injectors and everything, which I'm going to replace, I will first replace the IAC driver and then retest to make sure it's possible to repair. And if that's the case, then I replace all diodes, capacitors, and all the injector drivers, coil drivers, etc. Right? But sometimes it gets so bad that it welds the drivers down into the case, and the reason is because, like I said, this is a laminated kind of printed board that is glued to an aluminum case. And there are, rubber grommets and stuff like that, but you have grounds in here. So when, especially an output like the IAC, which is using a ground, the computer provides a ground, touches here, you're now grounding the entire board. And then anything that has power that might be getting hot as well at the same time touches in here, it just creates a catastrophic damage and no longer repairable. But when that happens, it doesn't run, doesn't happen, doesn't do anything, and it's not the case in here. The computer looks clean, no water intrusion, everything looks pretty good. So let me proceed with the repairs, guys, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, repairs are done. Let me put some more light here. 1 second. And let's plug the computer up. All right, everything is the same. I got everything ready to go here. Yep. Let me put the diagram capture and the oscilloscope, which, the computer is connected, but it's not powered on. Power on. We got the fuel pump. All right, so good. We got 14 volts in the IAC. Let's reconnect. Let me go over to. Actually, yeah. Let me reconnect to make sure that we are indeed established communication. And let's go over to the test as we did before. IAC output test. This should now run all the way up to 100%. Okay, we immediately see something we didn't see before. Look at the activations instantly. And I can hear the IAC humming because it's a pulse width modulated signal that you guys can see there. So yeah, you see now everything is in green, everything is available, and I can now hear even more. 40%, 50%. Yeah, that is 100%. And when I go to 0, you can hear a latching off. And I did. And when I click and release the valve. So yeah, this is 100% repair. No longer problems with the IAC. So things that I like to do, let's reconnect, because I like to reset the erase fault history, not the RPM history, but the fault history. Let's read fault codes, and we should have just those for now. The pitot, fuel, trim, and those are not connected. And EST 7 and 8 are just, again, unplugged. And I'll leave those on purpose to make sure the computer logic is reading properly. Because sometimes when something like that major happens, it can take down a computer for sure. And this was really close to being unrepairable. You took this computer out in the perfect time, Scott, because otherwise it would have damaged it. And the computer is like brand new. So yeah, this is actually no water intrusion, because I've seen a lot of these computers, especially the 0701. This is a PCM0701, where they get like fuel or oil or fluid inside, and you can see a haze onto the entire board. That's not the case on this one. This computer is in really good shape. So I did replace capacitors, diodes, injector drivers, coil drivers, RPM, fuel pump, etc. So now everything is brand new. You will have a computer that will last for another 20, 25 years without issues. But please make sure that you replace that connector driver on the IA, because otherwise it will damage the computer. All right, so we got those faults now. Let's run it. And we can see now the IAC working instantly. Before, this was not happening. It was a completely dead IAC. And another way of showing that everything is now perfect, I forgot to mention this, but keep an eye, rewind the video for you guys. It's going to be easy. And go over to this corner where it says available power. We had before only 90% because the IAC driver was not working.
And yes, I can run it in here because it's a simulation. On the boat without the IAC, it would not hold the idle. It would be very hard to accelerate. It's a major component, right? But yeah, everything is working perfectly. So what I'm going to do outside the video, so this is going to be just me running the computer for my tests and different RPMs and so on, which, I mean, I can show it here just for the sake of the video quickly. I'm going to increase it over to 4,000 RPMs. We can see the IAC, and I can hear it humming now. It's now fully open. Yeah, it is now coming back. That is just the way the computer is, and that is because I have not moved the throttle. Again, since this is a simulation, I cannot do two hands at a time, especially with a video, right? Let me move the manifold pressure. Now, yeah, everything, and look at the available power. 100%. Let me select it again. That's not the one. You can see in there, 100% power. So that's great. So this computer is fully fixed. And I have all signals connected, all the knock sensors, everything is now, I created a new harness for my simulator. And I have these tabs in here where I can connect all the sensors, RPM, tachometer. I really love what I did. And now that I have a new power supply onto my simulator, it's working phenomenal. No issues. Voltages are sustained, really nice. I'm very happy. I'm very happy because this is a good tool. It's actually very handy because I can put all the tools on top. I can put tools underneath. So it's kind of like a shelf and a tool at the same time. So yeah, I like to utilize all my tools. The only one that I have not been using lately is the MST 9000 because it's just a very basic one, very old one, but it's still here, and I'm not going to do anything different. Today's Sunday, by the way. Yes, I'm a workaholic, but it's because I'm about to leave to Costa Rica December 12th for vacation, so I'm trying to get as much as I can out. And when I have nothing to do, I usually on Sundays I work in a couple of computers and then I take off, unless we're going out. But that's my sole discretion time to do what I want, right? But yeah, Scott, everything is working great. I will see you guys next time. Please don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.